How's everyone doing today? Today is March 16th. It's a Tuesday, 2021. More than halfway done with March. Make sure you get those taxes in. You don't wait the last second, big fella. And hopefully that steamy check is hitting your bank account. The real question is, what option are you going to blow it on? How are you going to lose your money? That's the real question in the stock market, isn't it? Well, thank you for coming back to our another watch list. We have what looks like to be about 8. I'm good at math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really good stocks today. For our beginners, if you are an intermediate trader, I have about 5 extra that I've called before and that are really back into some good value. If you're a beginner stock trader and you're curious, man, how does old boy on the TikToks, how does he do so good? How's he making all this money? Well, 1, he's probably not. And then 2, he's supposed to see technical analysis and fundamental analysis. I will show you on this channel technical analysis. I'm going to show you all the supports, resistances, trend line patterns, volume profile, EMA lines. We have our RSI, stochastic, vortex. We have your mom, my mom, your grandma, your auntie too, elevators, whatever it is. So you have all the great stuff. I'm going to show you what we're supposed to be looking over, what we're supposed to have, and then what I see in every stock. And again, you should be able to take this from mine into your life and take some good stuff, right? Be like, ooh, I like that, I like that, ooh, I like that. And take all those things and then move on with your life and learn something new. This is an educational show about watch lists. I'm not telling you what to buy. This is not advice. I'm just saying these are really good stocks for examples for education. If you like them, beyond that, that's great. For our intermediate traders, if you are in fact really good at buying tech stocks, right? You buy 15 tech stocks. Congrats, you just bought an ETF and now you have to manage 15 instead of just an ETF. That's stupid. And if you have 3 stocks, each one has 30% of your portfolio, that's really dumb too. You got to make sure you kind of mitigate risk and close as many little holes as possible. I'll show you some great stocks in different sectors. They look way different, right? If you like the horizontal plays, got those. Ascending plays, got them. Descending, not so much because it's a bull market, right? So really good stuff for you guys to look at, to learn. I'm really excited about this list. It's pretty good. There was an issue that we had such a big run up that a lot of stuff is coming down and it's still not a great value. If we just paid $10 for a ticker and now it's at 15 and pulls back to 13, I don't want to buy it. I'm not interested. I just paid 10 for it. So I want to make sure these kind of come down a bit farther. I did get 8 good ones though. If you enjoy this content enough, if the lighting in my house isn't terrible enough on my day at home, I stayed home today. If you enjoy everything else besides this terrible lighting, I'm getting a studio made soon. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification. I do appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. If you enjoy this content enough, I have about 18 spots left in the Discord, and then I'm closing it off for now, just because the community is really beautiful. It's a really good group of people, right? Everyone really helps each other. It's really positive. No one talks too much. You can lurk as much as you want. I have maybe 20 folks who are super active. The rest of the 200 or so just lurk and just post occasionally or just take the stuff and they get out. So there's absolutely no reason to add 1,000 more people. So if you like it, check it out. If you want to do a 7-day free trial, my Discord name's in the description box below. It'll also be at the end of the intro. You can definitely add me as a friend and message me. I'm here to help. With that being said, if you want to jump in this watch list like I do, let's get it. So we can see above us our trusty poop list. Again, I would change that. But again, if I were to change it, the issue is that messes with karma and that messes with our, superstition. It's working fine. We're not going to mess with it right now. And then we have our this week's calls. These are going to be our medium plays. So again, if you're a beginner, what I suggest you do before every one of these tickers, there's a 5-second title screen with the stonk on it. He's just like stonking it up. You can definitely look up Bill, Etsy, FULC, whatever they are. You can look these up yourself. Put the supports, put the resistances, put the trend lines, and all that kind of stuff. And then if you watch the video and what I'm saying matches up to what you're saying, that's a really good sign. With that being said, let's get into our first ticker. First is Bill. Now, Bill, we've actually called him a multitude of times. We played this channel beautifully before we have. It was really nice. And now it's been broken. And now we have a resistance trend line that may become a support trend line. So we're going to see what happens with this. It's pretty weak. It does cut through price action, so I'm not overly sold on this. But again, it's definitely showing life around this area, and it's been a diagonal line, so we're not going to make it support. But we also have a very strong support area. Now again, your support may differ than mine. Your support may be all the way down here. Logical, right? Maybe right here. Logical. It also may be right here. Logical. I'm keeping mine right about there. There's a zone. It can be anywhere in here. And you can see we tested it and we lived, right? With earnings, big old beatdown. Oh, God. So am I overly concerned? I'm not. I want to know what Bill does before I really buy into it. But it's a good running up. It looks really healthy, not too overextended. We can also see, like, you come over here. You can see there's plenty of lines that match up elsewhere. So it's definitely ascending. Now, are you going to try and perfect this entry? Yeah, we could try. It's still downtrending, but it did break this downtrend pretty well. You see that? How I broke that downtrend and now it's retesting it. That's also there. So Bill, it's a little bit more of an intermediate play. This definitely is not like some perfect setup. Like there's a bunch of those last week. They're not paying off because of the huge sell-off. Now, if it does come down to like 133, different story. But here, it's pretty good. Maybe we'll get a good 5 or 6% bounce. I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. So what's super cool about this channel is me. But then we also have, I do not look at the EMA lines. I don't look at the indicators while I scan for these. It's all off price action. And so I have no idea what the EMA lines look like. I have no idea what these look like. And we're going to go through these together live so you can see what I see. And this 200 EMA line gives me a whole lot more confidence. Now, am I confident that it's going to bounce tomorrow? I'm less confident about that. I am more confident that it may come down to like, 144, and then kind of do like a quicker, little bullshit like, I need some time, and then take off, right? It's broken it a few times, and it's come back every single time. And it looks like, over here, once, twice take off, once, twice take off, once, twice take off. And so this is our once, maybe come dip down once again. We're going to see, but that's a really good sign that if it does come down here one more time and dips down and comes back, that's going to be a great sign to go along. Also, we're right next to the 50, so if we can break above the 50, like let's say it fucking comes down, breaks above it, and lives, and then goes long, kerchoo, right? That's going to be a whole different conversation to have that as well. The RSI is low. It could be lower, but again, it's ascending, and so it not getting oversold very often makes a lot of sense, and when it does, you would have made money. So right here, it's a good price. Don't mind my eyes watering. It's how it goes sometimes. All right, so right here, it looks pretty good. I would like to see it a little bit lower, but again, I want to keep price action, but also I'm saying the stochastic is coming down south. The RSI is coming down south. The vortex is trying to come down, and trying to hold up here. If we can hold the green while it comes down a little bit farther and we can hold everything else, BILL, this is going to be a great setup. Give it a day or two. All right, let the stochastic come down a little bit farther and start to curl north, and then you can go long. But Bill, if it does what we want it to do, it's a great setup. Next is Etsy, and again, you may recognize the name Etsy. I'm sure 9/10 of you do. We can see some really clear upper lines here, and you can see they're not going to line up perfectly. You can take your channel line here, and come over and say, hey, this is definitely, close to being a channel. It's close, but it's definitely not there. So we can come over here and see that, all right, it looks like it's making a closer to a wedge more than anything. Now it's a pretty long wedge, so I'm not going to get too worried about it. But is my reward going to be all the way up here? I don't think so, not short term. Is my reward at maybe around 240, 239 make more sense? Yeah, then again, more realistically, 230, 232 for me. It comes up here, I make my 8%, get in, get out, big bang boom, good stuff. So we have this obvious resistance line that isn't exactly lined up perfectly with the channel line. They are a bit different. See, that's a bit different, but again, it's a great sign that's at least an ascending play. Really strong support right here. They bounced off it today. I would argue that you need to draw your own for sure on this one. I could be a little high. I think support down here is also very logical, right? This is a good play, but I think given the fact that it's trying to push this resistance line, it's ascending. We're coming from down here. It's ascending nicely, right? We have plenty of room to run up. It kind of makes sense to me that if it breaks above this resistance in this line and goes long, we're in the money. And again, worst case, if it all breaks all this, okay, gets a lower candle over here, you lose 3%, buy back in when you see a better value. But Etsy, it's a great company. We all know who it is. With the pandemic, they should only get bigger. It's a good pickup. Let's check the indicators. So this too is a 200 EMA play, which is pretty cool. You don't get these very often on big sell-offs, right? So we can see, obviously, it comes to a 200 and breaks and then comes back. So we're pushing that again, and we're still above the 50. And so this is our 50 retest. It's coming up to test it. If we can live here tomorrow, if this can hold here and show some life, we're going to be in really good shape. If it breaks it, then you got to wait for the crossover, or you got to wait for it to be at value. That's going to be on you to choose when that's going to happen. But above both email lines is a great sign. RSI is high. It could be lower, obviously, right? But again, given the fact that it does reverse, maybe around anywhere in the 41s, see a little bit of a red day tomorrow, come down to 200, live, and then go back. Makes a lot of sense. Stochastics pointing south, they may come a little bit lower. And then, of course, the vortex wants to fight green. If that turns red, we'll be down here for a few days at least, right? We'll be down here for maybe 7 days, 8 days. So if it crosses red, we may be consolidating or being down for about 4 or 5 days. But Etsy, if all this stuff holds, again, that's a big if. It's a great setup. I like it a lot. Next is FULC, F-U-L-K, Fulcrum Therapeutics. Make sure you know what they do. It's a therapeutics company. You never know. They had a big sell-off due to earnings. It came down almost 20% and some change. But again, what a beautiful little boop-de-boop-de-boop-de-boop. Having a good old time. Now, is it a channel? Nope. No, it's close. So I guess you could argue it's a channel. Also maybe a wedge. But it's definitely some form of ascension. Now, this has been alive for a very long time. It's also a support area. So it comes down maybe 4 more percent. I'm not freaking out at all. And again, you need to risk a little bit more given that fact. But easily can push 10, 15, 20%. It's like a good 4-to-1 ratio. Makes a full move. It's a really good setup. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. You can see the support area right here. The resistance is pretty clear. The ascension is very clear. It consolidates, may take a few more days, but overall to see 10, 15% on FULC is not, it's not undoable. The only thing you got to worry about is that there's resistance at 1538. That's the old resistance right there. There's a chance it gets close to $15 and sells off, so make sure your reward is curtailed to the resistances and what it's showing you. But FULC's a good pickup. Let's check the indicators. So we can see with the drawing sets turn off again, it's at the 200, it's bouncing off of that, and the 50. If you can wait for it to cross the 50, it's a great sign of strength if you can do that for sure. So I would definitely wait for that if you're more afraid of risk. But again, the RSI is fair, stock is low, the vortex is kind of worthless looking. It just goes straight here, so I'm not even going to use that for this one. But big thing is if it can cross above the 50 tomorrow, it shows some life, take that over. Then hold, it's a great sign of life, but that is 6% you are giving up to do so. I'd be confident in thinking it's going to do that. If it starts to dip down, like starts to really show some lower lows, I'm just going to cut it, right? But FULC, it's a really good pickup. I like it a lot. Next is Guess, and Guess is a short-term swing. We can see that there is, in fact, earnings coming tomorrow. I would be cautious of that, and again, I would even wait for this to happen. There may be a pre-market run-up because of earnings. I wouldn't play that. That's too risky for me personally. If this does dip, maybe you're going to come down and see maybe $21. But beware, tomorrow if it really does dip off, it may be a good sign for you to buy in for a long-term hold. It's making a wedge, right? So I think best case here, you're going to see maybe 8% on a big move. But with earnings coming, I'm more confident it's going to probably tank. That would be my assumption. So I'd give it a day, give it 2 days. Let's see where Guess is going to go. Now, it has had days where it ran up because of good stuff. But if this does come out as bad earnings and it's like, oh, shoot, and starts tanking like 20% like a lot of these do, we'll look at $21.50 for a good entry. But GES, Gas Inc., is a pretty good setup nonetheless, minus the earnings. Let's check the indicators. So it's bouncing off the 50. That's nice because that can now be your stop losses, the 50 and the support, not using the trend line. You risk 2 or 3%. Maybe you're going to see, 2, 3, 4% really quickly as well. Get in, get out, bing, bang, boom. RSI is not oversold, but it does get to where my cursor is now at 42 or so. It's at 47, so that's a good sign that if it starts to kind of curl, and go horizontal more, start to curl north, that's a great sign of strength. Stochastic is low, could be a tad bit lower, and the vortex is going red. So again, that's not a great sign. If the vortex can hold here, that's a really good sign. So again, give it a day or two. We're not going to rush into anything, but GES could be a really good pickup off of earnings collapse or an earnings run up. So we called OI before. These are our price targets and stuff. And again, I talk about this pretty often. You should have realistic price targets. I didn't change these, right? But you can see though that it ran up literally right to our bottom of the price target. Like, you just got to map these out correctly and take your time. So we called it over here. It's like, hey, this is pretty good. ran up almost 15%. That's a really good find. And now we're back over here. Now this is a strong support area where my cursor is, right? I can take this line right here, move up, and I can see, hey, look at that. That's a really strong support area. So we're right here, right? If this does hold, you can easily see a 5, 10, 15% bounce here on a full one, but 5 to 10% makes a lot more sense. Bless you. Thank you. So we're going to keep the same price target just to see if we can get it again. And this is a nice uptrend over a long period of time. Now, is it like perfect? No, but you can see over the last year, it's just been cruising. Is it going to last forever? Again, no. We can see that's probably making much more of a wedge shape, but our price target's literally closer to the trend line up than it is the resistance. So we can get a good move, like, 5, 7, 8%. We just put our trailing stop loss at 1 or 2%. You get in, you get your profits, you get out. So OI, a safe, nice play for beginner. If these two things go, oh goodness, you lose 2%, you call it a day. Buy back when it shows some life. But OI, I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. Ooh, this one as well, bouncing at the 200. It's been a beautiful 200 EMA day. Bouncing right at it. It does break it, so it does come down a little bit farther. I'm not going to freak out at all. But again, it looks more like it's a retest. We're coming from below it. So it comes up, retest, takeoff. Comes up, retest, takes off. Comes up, retest. So again, this retest holds. OI should be a really good play, I think, for me. The RSI could be lower, but again, where my cursor is, a lot of reversals happen there on uptrends. So that makes a lot of sense why it's here. Stochastic could be a tad bit lower. You want to see they kind of start to turn north. I see no divergences yet. Now, if it does reverse here, we could have one potentially. If it does reverse soon, that would definitely be one. But again, I can put a lot of emphasis into that right now. Let's see if it can turn around first. And Vortex just went red, but again, looks like there's times where the red's only up here for maybe 3 to 5 days. There's 5. This one was about 5. So you may be down here for another 2 to 3 days of a consolidating and then taking off. But OI, I like it a lot, especially given the fact that it's above the 200 retesting. If it can break the 50, that's a great sign of strength. OXLC. It's an oddly clear setup. Like, it's super, super nice how this is running up. Let's duplicate our channel lines, see if there's any kind of channels. We can see that these two line up pretty well, but like this doesn't line up to anything over here. So I'm not putting a lot of emphasis into that. If anything, I'm looking at maybe like it was a broadening, it was a wedge until it broke above it, and then they got rid of it. Maybe it's a broadening top, as we talked about before. So there's no pattern, right? We do see there's a lower high, but again, any idiot can connect two lines, so I'm not taking a lot of emphasis into that. It's a really nice uptrend, but again, it comes down to risk versus reward. We can definitely see it's living at the support area. Worst case, this all breaks down. You lose 3%, right? You get lower lows than over here, 3 and 11, maybe 4% if you're real confident. Okay. But if you can keep this going for a long-term play, the first resistance is 4% away. It's 1-to-1. It's not great. But if the market does turn around, you can see a nice run up to make 8%. It keeps running up. It could be really good. So, am I completely sold? Not yet. I want to give it a day or two. But it's a great value. Maybe if we can get down to like 619, if this does come down about here tomorrow, it does dip down, comes down to maybe about here. We're about there. Maybe even as low as here, $6. Then we can really start talking about a nice short-term play. But long-term, if this continues, OXLC is a good pickup. Let's check the indicators. So what's nice if we look at it is that, again, it's above the 200. It breaks it over here, but not over here. That's been tapping it. So, again, we're really close. That's a great sign of strength. It just broke below the 50. That would be a problem. If you want to wait for it to cross back over, you can. But then again, you're giving up 1.79% if it holds. Meaning you're going to be playing about a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 if you use that 50 EMA line as a stop loss. The RSI is low. It could be a tad bit lower, but it's really good. Stochastic's low. Vortex could be a tad bit lower too, but it's pretty low. So again, if it drops off another 10, 15 cents, really hits the 200 or comes down to maybe the 619s, a really good pickup. But here, for a long-term hold, OXLC, I like it a lot. SXC is ironically close to OXLC. It's just a nice run-up, but I think the trend line here, again, matches a little bit better. It's definitely not a channel anymore, right? That's really close, though. That was definitely a channel. Yeah, this is definitely close enough. So you may buy in now, and if this continues, okay, you'll make a bunch of money, but this is still farther away than I want it to be. I'm calling this pretty preemptively. I'm hoping this does come down to about 650, and this sell-off continues down as the 6, maybe, you know, it shows a green one tomorrow, you know, this is a confusion one. It's like, I don't know which way I want to go, daddy. If it does go, you know, 650, maybe hits about the 623s for our first major support down here. Yeah, that SXC is going to be a complete snack. But for here, I'm calling it preemptively. I'm not saying buy this tomorrow. I never say buy any of these stocks. I'm not giving you advice. I'm giving you education of what I see. I think for me, SXC comes down to about 650. Put half my money in, right? I put a G into this. I'll put $500 in the the first support. It shows some life. Put the other 500. It breaks out in the $6 area. Put the rest in, average down, and then I can go from there. So XXC, a great pick. I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. So it likes to bounce off the 200 and the 50 repeatedly. So if it does break down, I think the $6 range makes a lot of sense. Maybe $6.19 if it takes a few days for the 200 to catch up. But it does show some life tomorrow where it takes the 50 and holds. Then we got ourselves a nice runner on our hands. Zzz, go get it, right? So the EMA lines don't look terrible. Look pretty good. RSI could be a tad bit lower, by the time it was oversold, was pretty intense sell-offs. Otherwise, it got down to about 34. No, we're about there. Yeah, it got around the 37 range, and right now we're, 41? So we're right there. Stock is dummy low. Vortex is dummy low. Again, if we can get one good green one, a good greeny boy, it shows some life at that support area and starts to reverse, SXC could be a fantastic pickup. Last is Trin. I called TRN yesterday on my good list. It's gotten down farther, and that's where I wanted it. Now, this was a broadening top. Okay, you see that? Making a megaphone. This will live if we can foresee Trin getting up to 36.40. Is that possible? It certainly is. Is it probable? Absolutely not. So I would consider anywhere over here to not be relevant to this pattern. Maybe you're going to have an uptrend over here that was recently broken. That could have been one. Maybe it's this long one that I'm drawing. Maybe it's going to be a horizontal play down here. Maybe it's going to become a descending play, right? We have no idea. Anyone who claims to know has no idea what they're talking about. All I know is that this is a good area of support. Now, you may want to draw your line down here. Oh, I like it here. Maybe you want to draw yours down here. That's fine. I like mine right where it is. Right, I like mine right about there, right in the middle. Looking pretty good. It had an earnings sell-off. It's showing some life at the support in this trend line. Worst case, Ontario. It all breaks. 2.3. All right, you want to go for lower lows? 4.3. So again, we have plenty of risk managed. Looking pretty good. Our first major resistance is 4% away, if not closer to 6.8 or 7. And then this is going to be a nice gap area. There's no volume right here. You can see with the wick and how quick it moves. If we can break in this area, shoomp, we'll fire up to the 10-11% range. So TRN, a good pickup. If you're more risk averted, let it show some life, but I like a lot of this value. Let's check the indicator. This one too, bouncing off the 200, that's a great support area. It'll need to break above the 50 to show life, so bring that into your reward and risk ratios. If it hits the 50 again and doesn't show life, you need to get out because it's not going to live as well as we wanted to. We could also see that the RSI is really low. Where we want it to be, stochastic is low, vortex could be a tad bit lower, but it does reverse right around this area. So TRN, I like it a lot. A really good pickup. If it shows some life, I would definitely go long. So if you're a beginner, make sure to turn off your brain and go ahead and turn it on again, but restarted looking in observation learning mode for sure. You're not going to be buying any of these. These are more profitable than usual, but they're also more dangerous and more volatile. So if you're a intermediate trader, I had fajitas and I'm full. So if you're an intermediate trader, I trust you to make the right decision. Then we're going to roll through these as quickly as possible. I've called all 5 of these before, so nothing too new. If you're a beginner trader, again, go from Mr. Buying Pants to Mr. Education Hands. Right, so let's get into it. So if you're new here, new kid, we're going to see that I don't turn the indicators off while I do this because I want you guys to get through as quickly as possible. Again, if you're an intermediate trader, I trust you to make the right decision. So first is CTLT. This was definitely some form of broadening wedge. You see this? You see that nice megaphone over a long period of time hitting a bunch of tops? This will not last forever, right? So if you want this to last forever, like, share in love, do you believe in love? So we can see that it needs to make a 34% move. Is that possible? Yeah, it's done it. But is it probable? Probably not. So we got to make sure our risk and reward makes a lot of sense. Right here, I could see maybe getting 5, 6, 7, 8%, hitting around this 200 and this 50 if it crosses above it, really run up. But again, hit this area. If it shows, you know, it's going to probably break down. Get your money, get in, get out. But CLTL, a good pickup. It's still trending up. It's just consolidating on this line, which it does historically, and we're waiting for it to kind of pop. But CTLT, I like it a lot. So FLNT is risky. It's a risky bad boy. You can see that it has earnings today, and I'm a bit nervous about that. I'm a little nervous bear. We can see that these downtrend lines line up almost all too well, and then this also lines up pretty well for, you know, lining up this downtrend. So do I think do I think that FLNT may come down to here? I do. Now, is that a 30% sell-off? It is. Does that make sense? No, it's quite a lot, right? So I'm not going to like freak out, but this is a really good, it's at the 200, it's right here. You know, if you can get in tomorrow, it breaks everything. Okay, 3-4% gone. But you can get, we got in on the first big run up, we got in over here. It's like, hey, look at this. It ran up pretty well. So it's done what we wanted it to do multiple times. Let's just give it a day or two to see what it's going to do. But FLNT, if it survives earnings and does well, could be an A1 setup. GNK is one of my favorite recent ones because I remember us bouncing off the 50 right around here. And my friend Ben was like, well, hey, should we go along? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And then he didn't pull a trigger, and it was like, see you nerds, and took off, and he was like, here I am again. So shout out to you, big fella. We can see a really nice run up happening. Now, is this going to last forever? Absolutely not. It's bouncing off the 50 like time work, like clockwork. I'm so tired. If it lives here and goes long, sure, easy 5-7%, and making a nice ascending triangle formation here. You like to see it. If you zoom out to the 10-year, all right, it's had higher highs. This is historically not that strong of a resistance. Now it's definitely strong, but we can break above this. Okay, then we're talking, we can make some real stupid money quickly. So GNK ascending, looking pretty good. I'm not in love with it, but I definitely like it a lot. It's a good pickup. So PAGS is right where we want it. I called it yesterday. I'm like, hey, it's pretty good. You know, it's at the support area. Now, is 4630 a better support area in my opinion? Hell yeah. If it comes down there, that's fine. But this has been a nice ascension up here, right? We can live here and go long, easy 7-8%. That's great. And you just can't break above the 200. If we can get above this and the 50, then we're going to be in business. So again, you're kind of buying in a tad bit early. But again, for what it is, I like PAGS a lot. And last and not least is PTRS. Sure, it had earnings and it's still running down. Now again, it's just like a falling knife situation. It's not that bad. All right, it's not like we're all gonna be freaking out all the time. But if this does give out here, if this does give out the support area, I would be a tad bit nervous because we're probably going to be seeing numbers around $13, if not closer to probably $12 or $11. So if this does give out, I'd cut it and buy back in. It's just not showing life, but this is a really good value for it to reverse that. If it does reverse, then you're going to make some really quick money really well here. PTRS, tentatively, it's a good pickup. And there you guys have it. My allergies and my yawning aside, I'm not that bored. My eyes are just all watery now, looking all crazy. But this is a really good list. 8 great ones if you're a beginner. Again, this is an educational channel. This is really good for Watchlist. You can take anything that I just did, and you can apply it to anything that you do in this world, right? You can take this and be like, all right, this is going to be successful. I day trade, so I'll take all this information, use it on day trades, right? I'm not saying to go out and buy all these. That's what idiots do, especially Redditors. All my Reddit friends I got like 3,000 Reddit followers, and I'll post it, and I'll be like, here's a watch list for tomorrow, and people are like, well, they're all red. Dude. It's like, well, the market tanked. If the whole market drops 4%, I'm not going to be the lone star who's shining. That's not how this works, dude. I also have L's. So, like, this is a nice educational channel. The Discord's a nice educational group. I'm not out here calling all bangers all the time, right? So again, take this stuff, apply it where you want to apply it. If you like these stocks in particular, great, go for it. Otherwise, have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. If you like the content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you really like the content, if you like me, sleepy Evan right now, a little bit tired. If you like that, you like me, check out the Discord. Absolutely no pressure. I'm not really Mr. Businessman, Mr. Shove it down your throat. It's fine, right? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's why we're in America, right? That's how we all roll. With that being said, have a good Tuesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow. That's embarrassing. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.